Hello, I'm Mrs. Kelly and I'm the teacher of GCSE Food Preparation and Nutrition, and I just want to talk you through the course so that you can decide for yourself whether it's a subject that you might like to do or whether it's not for you at all. It is a relatively new course and we cover a wide range of dishes, developing a wide variety of skills, and throughout the presentation you'll see loads of photographs of food that students have produced and pictures of students actually cooking. We taste a lot of new foods, and that's quite a requirement of the course, really. You will learn about nutrition and healthy and special diets. We experiment a lot and we investigate what certain foods do in certain conditions. Where possible, we gain the food hygiene certificate, which helps with future employment. And we basically learn skills which set us up for life and hopefully, and most importantly, we have fun along the way. Now, the course timeline is shown on this chart here. In Year 10, we cover all the subject knowledge through a variety of taught lessons, activities, practicals, experiments, a wide variety of things which will suit the metacognition strategies that each individual student has, the way in which they learn for themselves. There are six key areas of the course, and these are listed at the bottom here. This is the subject knowledge areas: food preparation skills, food nutrition and health, food safety, food science, food provenance, which means where does the food come from, and food choice. And we cover all of that, all the knowledge, all the theory within Year 10. Because then in Year 11, we have quite a lot of coursework to do, which will appeal to some people. It may not appeal to others, but there are very few courses, GCSE courses now, that have coursework. And within this subject, the coursework is worth 50% of the final GCSE. And there are two different tasks. The first one, which is completed between September and October, is an investigation task. We take 10 hours in lesson time and it's worth 15% of the overall GCSE. And there's some examples later on about what that could be, but here is an example of looking at different raising agents and the conditions under which raising agents will work. At the end of October, that task is handed in and I mark it, and then I feedback marks. Students between November and December work on a preparation task. My apologies, November and February work on a preparation task. 20 hours in lesson time, and it is worth 35% of GCSE. This task involves being given a topic and planning and preparing meals suitable for a certain diet. So, for example, for the elderly or for someone who has to have an iron-rich diet or a vegetarian diet. That is handed in near the end of February and then it is assessed. So normally by March time, you know, and I have to tell you, what your marks are for 50% of your Year 11, your GCSE. And it comes to a really motivating time because by March of Year 11, you're getting a little bit jaded about your GCSEs. And when you learn how well you've done on your coursework, it really spurs you on for that final stretch towards the exams. And it's the exams that we focus on between March and May. We revisit the Year 10 theory. The Year 10 theory has been used all the way through the coursework, but we revisit the Year 10 theory with the exam in mind. We focus on revision, we focus on exam practice, and so that is how the 2-year course is spaced out. It appeals to people who can work quite well independently. It appeals to people who like to complete a piece of work over a long period of time. It appeals to people who don't particularly like exams. So here we've got some pictures of practical lessons, and you'll note that there are relatively few students in the food room. In GCSE, in the past, we've had no more than about 15 students because of the complexity of the practicals and also the size of the older students. They need lots of space, lots of elbow room. So this is a type of an investigation style task. This is what I was talking about, 15% of the overall GCSE. One type is where you investigate the best ingredients and in particular flours for making bread. This one is where you look at how yeast needs to multiply. This one down here is looking at the amount of gluten in flour. Gluten is something that gives the structure and almost the sponginess to flour. So we carry out experiments, we carry out taste panels, and then you write it up. Task 2, which is worth 35% of the coursework, is where you plan, prepare, cook, and present a range of dishes. There's a written element to this, but there's a lot of practical work as well. There's technical skills that you show throughout the practicals, and then included in this coursework, there's a 3-hour practical exam, which students can tend to be a little bit worried about, but once they do it, they absolutely love it. And we do a full 3-hour mock exam and obviously the final 3-hour exam. And once they get into it, they really enjoy it. And some of you may be looking at these dishes here and thinking, do you know what? I can make all those dishes now. And what we do is we just refine your skills. We refine your preparation and look at your time management. Another one here, this is looking at the Mediterranean culinary tradition. And we've got soup with chili bread rolls, ricotta and spinach tortellini, and then some tarts showing pastry and some other skills there. There is an exam. The exam is worth, as we say down here, 50% of the overall mark, and it's 1 hour and 45 minutes long. One of the reasons I chose the AQA course is because for the first 20 questions are multiple choice, a bit like these ones here. And in my mind, and it has been confirmed by students, it helps the students to sort of settle down into the exam. They're not completely easy. They can try to trick you, as with any multiple choice, but it's a bit of a grounding thing at the beginning of the exam. And then as the exam goes on, Section B has questions of a variety of content. So this one here is describing a packed meal that a 7-year-old is taking to school, and you're asked for 3 marks to describe how the packed meal will provide Joe with energy. So you're putting loads of food science and nutritional information into there. Another style of question here is where you are given a dish, and this is all about eggs, and it's saying in this dish, what is the function of eggs? So what's the function of eggs in each of the different parts of a lemon meringue? What is it in fish cakes? What is it in cheese flan? And it gives you an example at the beginning to sort of model how to answer that question. That's a close-up of the multiple choice and the other questions that you can look at and pause at on your leisure. So these are the examples of some of the foods that students have produced during practical lessons and during their coursework. If the photographs where there is a plain table underneath, these are from the mock exam where the students really experience a 3-hour practical for the first time. I don't want you to be fazed by the presentation of these foods. They are very good and they have been cooked very well. But with some very simple garnishing, they can be made to look even better. And that's something that we teach you as well. So a variety of things here. If I just scroll through, some of them do need a bit of tidying up. I'm not just showing you all the best things. These things needed to be tidied up around the outside and probably presented, you know, with a side dish of some kind. This is perhaps slightly overcooked, but students learn from these things in their mock and they improve on them in their final exam. This is a superb practical, very professionally produced. A fruit tart with sweet crust pastry with a crème pâtissière with fruit. These pavlovas were made during their mock exam, and fish cakes, which show a lot of skills, especially when the fish has been filleted and poached themselves. A sort of a mid-standard practical there. The green beans don't completely enhance it in my mind, but it was a student who was really trying and got quite a good mark, but improved even more in their in their final exam. This is a little bit beige for me, but again, a good range of skills. We've got toad in the hole, we've got crumble, we've got soup and rolls. Maybe the 2 savoury dishes, the savoury dish could have had a little bit of a side and maybe some fresh custard with the crumble. Again, a little bit beige. This group learned about beigeness. And we've got some savoury fruit tarts. We've got a lasagna there, I think, and we've got a fruit cobbler of some kind there. So just scrolling through here. Okay, this is a student who actually went on to do an apprenticeship in food, and this is lamb rump with potatoes and some steamed vegetables. Good skills shown, but again, the garnish wasn't particularly great on this. It's a bit beige, so this student worked on that for their final exam. So here we've got a list of things. We did a student voice exercise, and we asked, why did you opt for these subjects? We also regularly do student voice, where we find out what we're doing well and what we could improve on, and we are always trying to improve on our practice. But this particular question was very interesting to us. So they like the creativity and the imagination, the fact that they can work independently. There's quite a relaxed learning atmosphere, that the lessons are fun, enjoyable and interesting. I think mainly because each lesson can be quite different. It's not just coming in and sitting down. We've got hands-on learning and the diversity of the curriculum. And yes, they did actually say the last one as well. So this is the type of student that can do really well in food GCSE. You don't have to have all of these things when you start, but these are the things that we develop, especially being organised and being an independent learner, being resourceful. And these are all things that employers are looking for. A sense of humour helps. You need to like a challenge, but this is what you would either be like or end up being like by the time you've done GCSE food. So here we've got the lace tablecloth on. These are the final exam practical pieces, and I hope you'll see a difference in them as I scroll through. This is a paella. This is a beautifully garnished brownie with chantilly cream. A superbly made gâteau where the jelly and the mousse and the sponge were all made and then layered up, and then this is a caramel wafer, and then there's some caramel sauce here and some caramelized raspberries, I do believe. This is a kedgeree, superbly cooked eggs. This is a hazelnut and blueberry pudding with chocolate sauce, and a chocolate pudding with some nut brittle. This is a pear and apple pizza. Don't knock it until you've tried it. It was really great. This is a chocolate tart made for somebody who has to be on a gluten-free diet. And the base was made with popcorn rather than biscuits to suit that diet. This is the caramelization of the raspberries. So we can use things like blowtorches with care. This is a superb pudding, a raspberry coulis here, but again, a sweet pâté brisé pastry with crème pâtissière, and which is like a custard, and then the fruit around the outside. Another kedgeree there. This is a gâteau Saint-Honoré, which has flaky pastry at the bottom. It has choux pastry, a bit like chocolate eclairs around the outside. Fresh custard in the middle, and then decorated with cream. A lot of skills in there. That got a lot of marks. This is pear and Stilton sauce. This was made by a student who had an absolute meltdown. Doesn't happen often. But had a meltdown in the mock exam and just said, I can't do this. This is what she did in her final exam, as well as two other equally good dishes. It's a superbly made mini gâteau with all bits made. All this chocolate work was made, the pipe work, it was absolutely superb. So all due credit to her. So we use things like pasta machines. We have a range of machines that you can use. There's a beautifully garnished soup. This student, very happy in his work, went on to an apprenticeship as a chef at a local castle. So where can food take me apart from a food apprenticeship? So In previous presentations, I've asked students to, on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, just list a few of the different types of jobs that are available. You can pause that, you can have a go at that now if you want to. But I'll give the game away and I'll move on to this, possible jobs and careers. So at the top here, there is a link which links with a Scottish food industry video, which I do encourage you to watch, especially if you're not sure whether food is for you, because it includes a lot of careers in food that you would not think about. And it might just be the thing that you are destined to do. But here are some of the more general things that you can do with food. But at the bottom, I want you to realise you don't need to want a food related career to make it a good GCSE for you to do, because it helps you to gain all of these skills: life skills, management, teamwork, organisational skills, creativity, problem solving, time skills. And these are all things that industry and employers have all agreed that they are looking for in students. And these are skills that you don't always gain in other subjects. So when you are choosing your options, it's a good idea to choose a broad variety of subjects which showcase the type of person that you are. These are the types of apprenticeships that you can go for. I've got somebody this year who is wanting to start an apprenticeship as a pastry chef and is currently going through that process. And then there are universities that you can go to study things related with food, whether it's nutrition, whether it's exercise and nutrition, dietetics, food engineering, where you actually design new foods, or the psychology of nutrition. So a wide variety there. Now here are some links that you may find useful for further information if you are considering GCSE food. And finally, if you have any questions at all, please do email me on this email address. You can't always get to me in school, but I'm always at the end of an email and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If necessary, we can always have a phone call, or we can arrange to have a video call where we could just talk through your thoughts and you can ask any questions. So thank you very much for listening this far, and I would just remind you that really what you need to do in choosing your subjects is choose the subjects which you believe you're going to enjoy, and if you're going to enjoy them, you will do them well. So thank you and goodbye.